Hey, what's going on, YouTube and Facebook family? I got something really good that I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about lens and filters. What you got to understand is everybody views life through a different type of lens. Everybody has a filter that they listen through. Isaiah 28, 5 and 6, it talks about, God will strengthen those that wins the battle of the gates. Now let me explain that. Matthew 6:10, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Okay? The problem is there's a lot of people in life, me included, and I hate to say it, but yes, I'm talking to you too, that the Bible even says that there's nobody perfect. No, not one. Everybody is skewed in their theology in some aspect. There's nobody that sees things perfectly right. Now, the problem we got is there's a whole lot of folks out there that think that they see things properly, that they see things right on everything. I am wearing my Appeal to Heaven shirt. So as long as we keep making an appeal to heaven and we say, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, we'll start to see things differently. Kind of a fun story that saved me a lot of money. We were currently building my wife's dream home, and we were supposed to start on the dirt work 7 weeks ago. And man, it's like we're praying like, God, when are you going to stop the rain? I mean, in Texas right now, before June even started, at the end of May, it had rained more than the average rainfall in a year. And in 7 weeks, it rained so much. And we were like, God, what is the holdup? What is the process? Why is it taking so long? And then my builder said, did you know in about 5 to 6 weeks, a lot of the prices for a lot of the materials are going to start going down at a very drastic degree and a fast rate? I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And he said, this holdup is actually going to save you a whole lot of money. And I gave him a price. I said, it's going to save me that much? He said, more than that. And see, I was looking through the lens of, God, I'm ready to build my wife's dream house. And all of a sudden, because it's going to be set up for worship nights, and we're each going to have our office there. And my wife loves hosting people, and so she's going to have different groups over, and we're going to have a big place in our backyard for worship encounters. And so it's just going to be a great place for family, friends, fellowship, work, and also fun. But see, I was looking through the lens of, God, we need to build this house. But all of a sudden, like my builder said, when we locked in prices and bought stuff, you would have spent a whole lot more money. And I said, man, I was looking through the lens of I was ready. But your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as is in heaven. I had a guy, kind of an acquaintance, call the other day, and he said, oh, Apostle Joe Joe, the church I've been going to has been rebuking me. They're trying to hold me back. They won't let me be free in the spirit. I said, well, what's going on, man? And he said, I jump in worship and I dance in worship. I said, me too. He said, I pray in tongues. I said, me too. I said, what kind of church you going to? A very, very traditional denomination. And I said, why are you going in a very traditional church like that? You're not the head. You're not the pastor. Why do you think you're going to go in there and change everything? You're not the one God called to be over that church. You set yourself up for failure. But he was looking through the lens of, I'm always right. Most people say, oh, I'm a kingdom minister. But their actual view is, if you don't jump in with them, you're not kingdom. Have you ever noticed how many people are best friends in ministry, life, and business? Then 3 weeks later, their business partner, their ministry partner is Jezebel. You ever notice that? Because they're looking through a wrong lens. Every time, like if I have an altercation with somebody or something doesn't go the way that I think it should go, this is what I always do. I don't judge. I don't say anything. I go to prayer and I say, okay, God, what are you trying to teach me in this situation? Something didn't work out the way that I thought it should work out. You know what happens 90% of the time, and don't tell people this, but God corrects something in me, not the situation. I don't know why he does that stuff to me, but he does. And you know what? He'll do it to you too. See, I don't want to be right. I want to be right with God. I don't have to be right in situations. I don't have to sit there and go, well, I was right in this. I told you so. No. Listen, God is getting something out of you and me. And so, like I tell people all the time about lens and filters. I remember one time we were at a conference And this young guy who was able to speak at this conference, oh man, he was so excited that he was getting to preach at a conference with some really cool folks. And I wasn't the cool folks, there's other cool folks there. And when he got done preaching, he walked up to one of the older ministers and said, "Hey man, how'd you like my message?" He said, "Oh, it was real good. In fact, your first 10 minutes was Damon Thompson. Your next 10 minutes was Stephen Furtick. Your next 10 minutes was Ryan Lestrange." And then he started going through the different people, and that young man dropped his head. He said, "That's who you've been listening to. But you were invited to this conference to preach what God gave you. Yes, listen to them and reference. You didn't reference anybody that you gleaned from." And so what it is, he had heard something and all of a sudden made it his own. Like I remember one time I was at a really cool ministry, and some of the ministry leaders there, they were like, "Our biggest problem is because our ministry has exploded. It's doing great. God's using it in so many different ways. The problem is our interns get so arrogant because they are a part of the ministry, but they don't realize what it took to get here. They're just seeing the fruit. They weren't here plowing. They weren't here when we bought the field and worked the field and plowed the field." And so a lot of times you have to look through the lens and the filters of life. Like my wife and I, we understood real quick in marriage when we were younger. Like if one of us would say something and the other didn't quite understand, we would say, "Now what do you mean by that?" And they would explain it. Instead of, I have to be right, and I understood real quick that I would rather Autumn be right and us be at peace. I'm really easygoing on a lot of things, and there's a lot of things I have zero budge to me. I don't speak my thoughts and opinions about things a lot, but when I do, I mean it. And so it's like on vacations. I have a rule on vacations: don't ask me a question. I'll go wherever y'all want to go. We'll eat wherever y'all want to eat. We'll do whatever y'all. If y'all want to lay on the beach all day, that's fine. If y'all want to go to Disney World, that's fine. I don't care. I'll just pay for it all. Don't ask me a question because I want you to be blessed. I'm looking through the lens of my wife and kids versus what I want to do. Am I making myself clear? In life, so many people are frustrated. All the time people call me in our network, and people are YouTube followers. Man, I love you guys so much, and I appreciate y'all. And people call me, and as we're talking, I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. What you're talking about is not aligning with kingdom theology. It's not aligning with the Bible. I had somebody message me. They message me once about every 2 weeks about their business, how bad their business is. And I asked them one simple question. I said, "Does your business tithe?" They're like, "No." I said, "Well, why in the world would you even expect your business to thrive? I mean, if your business doesn't tithe." And oh Lord, do you see that bee that just went by? Praise the Lord, he didn't sting me. I'd acted crazy if it had stung. I hate getting stung by stuff. And so they were looking through the lens of this is what I need, not about kingdom. See, when you make an appeal to heaven on a daily basis, you'll understand your life, your marriage, your kids. It's all about the kingdom of God. It's Matthew 6 and 10. Every time you have a business, all our businesses tithe. We just don't tithe. We tithe, give offerings. And so that's why we're blessed in every single thing that we do, is because we honor God. People tell me all the time, "God told me to start this business." I said, well, how do you benefit? I mean, what do you do? Do you sow into anybody else's ministry or businesses? They're like, "Sow into other people's business? That makes no sense." I said, okay, you can struggle if you want to. So I hope I'm making sense to you about this. Lens and filters. Whenever you have a disagreement with somebody, okay, you're looking through a lens. In America, Republicans and Democrats, they don't see eye to eye on hardly anything. And a lot of times, even if someone's moral conscience believes in something, if it doesn't align with their political party, they will side with them versus going against what the other party, back and forth. So if they like if they're in a party and like a big topic in America is abortion, and I got friends Republicans and Democrats. I got some Democratic friends that don't believe in abortion at all because they're Christians, but what they will not step up and say abortion's wrong because it goes against the political party. That's lens and filters. And so you have to understand in life that listen, here's the thing about me. I don't argue with people. I just don't argue. I have no time to argue. Like I had somebody ask me one time, "Hey, how come you don't argue with anybody about anything?" I said, "Because I need peace in my life, and I have too much going on. God has given me a lens and a filter for numerous businesses, ministries. I don't have time to make myself right. If someone disagrees with me, I don't care. It just means they've been raised differently. They may think differently politically. Their theology may be a little different. But at the end of the day, we're all in humanity and society together. I love everybody. But if you see things differently, I don't say, oh, you're skewed in the way you view things. We just believe differently, and I'm not going to argue about it, because here's what you got to understand: you will be around your people. Okay, you're going to be around your. God will put you around your people. That's, some people call it their tribe. Some people call it their group. When you get around your group, and people say, oh, I'm sick of cliques, you just haven't found the right group of people to be around with. When people say that, usually this is what they mean: that I view things one way and I like these people, but they don't view things, so they push me off. No, maybe they're just so focused in life that they're not going to sit around and argue and debate about things, because lens and filters are different. See, here's one thing that I do. I teach my kids this. I don't watch anything that does not bring me benefit to move forward in my kingdom assignments, in my marriage, my kids, my friend, my relationship with my friends, ministries and businesses. I don't waste time watching stuff for entertainment. Entertainment. Like somebody said, what's your favorite Netflix series? I said, I've never watched one in my life. Never will. I got stuff going. I mean, you could watch a movie or you could pray for 2 hours. I think that praying for 2 hours would probably benefit you a lot more. I could work on one of my businesses. I got our health coaching business. I talk about it every video. It is exploding at a degree that I can't even fathom. It's the blessing of the Lord. Well, what happens is when you get the kingdom lens, hear me now, that kingdom lens, and you're listening through a kingdom filter, everything's different. You know, and so you got to understand how to protect yourself too. When you know that you're in with the Lord. Like I was talking to my 9-year-old the other day, and he was watching something on TV. It was like on a good channel, and we don't have TV, but we're at my mother and father-in-law's house right now, and they have the different streamings, you know, they're watching something, and so and I just said, son, I want you to know, every time you watch something, every time you listen to something, let Holy Spirit check you up. If it's not the lens or the filter you're supposed to be looking through and listening through, come get me. And there's so many times he'll come in and say, hey, Dad, I want you to look at this to make sure, because I had a check in my spirit. You know, he's 9, but that's important. If you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, you need to make sure that there's been times in my life that I would get up and I say, I just feel a check in my spirit that maybe if my kids are watching a program, that this next commercial, something's not going to be right about it. And then so I would turn the volume down, and just to show them that next commercial came up was demonic. Boom, right there, you clicked it off. You know, if your kids are listening to something and they got some type of device that just is playing different musics one after another. I know like YouTube. I love this feature, by the way. It's called autoplay, but every now and then a video will come in there. I tell my kids, you can allow something to come in. You will contaminate your eyes and your ears with your lens and your filter. You need to guard your lens that God gives you. You need to guard the filter God gives you. And when God gives you gifts, talents, and ability, you need to guard them. You know, you could get a glass. I've done this illustration with my kids numerous times. But like I get a glass of water about 10, 12 ounces, and I get like a dropper and put like 5 small drops of coffee in there. And I hated to waste that coffee, y'all, but I did. And for an illustration for my kids. And all of a sudden the water was just diluted. And they're like, wow. I said, when you watch one thing you're not supposed to, when you listen to one song you're not supposed to, it gets thoughts in your mind. And you know, they're kids, I'm teaching them. I said, but when you get focused in life and you're moving forward, you have to understand. I can't tell you how many times when I was younger and I would be listening to people. I mean, I was sitting in rooms with ministers, well-known ministers, and they would say something, and I was like, what? It did not sit right in my spirit. And my mind kind of struggled with it. I remember when I was really young, I'm still young, by the way, but I remember one time I was really young, a minister said something, and it was just kind of stuck in me for about a year. And I called him one day, and I said, sir, let me ask you a question. And I said, because I want to know, when you said this a year ago, it just kind of puzzled me for a year. He said, oh, no, that's not what I meant at all. And he explained it. I thought, oh, okay. But I had that in me. Now, as I've gotten older, I know that, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as in heaven. And so I say, God, how is this what I watched, this what I saw, I heard this minister speak, how does it align with my kingdom agenda? And how the Bible says, take every thought captive. When you have a thought, when you see something, when you hear something, you got to take those things captive. And the reason I'm doing this video is because so many people message me and call me, and when they're not successful in life, ministry, business, the relationship with God, I can talk to them for 2 minutes and give them so much kingdom advice real quick. Well, this is why you're not thriving. And they make 1 or 2 quick adjustments. They start thriving just like that. I had a young minister sit down the other day. I gave him just 2 quick things to do. Changed his life forever. To me, it was simple, but I'm older. When you learn how to guard your eye gates, Isaiah 28:5-6, God strengthens those that win the battle of the gates. You win your eye gates every day. You win your ear gates every day. Watch what you watch. Watch what you listen to. You got to be careful. But when you, like my wife and I wear a pair of earbuds, AirPods, headsets. I got so many of them everywhere because I wear them out because I'm always listening to this stuff. I listen to worship. I listen to preaching. I listen to personal development. I got so many audio books. I'm always listening to stuff on YouTube. I'm always just feeding myself. I'm always watching the right things, and I want to strengthen myself because I want to be the best version of myself. I hope this video helped you today. I could tell you so many stories about I remember one time there was this minister. He was 41 at the time. He'd been pastoring a church for 16 years, and his church was like this, just up and down, 16 years. So I was talking to him, and he opened up, and he said, Joe, here's the thing. I've been addicted to porn ever since I've been pastor. I said, okay. Our church is going good. I look at porn, and then all of a sudden I go through this stage, and then my church goes down. And then I get free, and he said, it's just, I just listen, I hear, and he said, I got to guard my gates. I'm telling you, guard your gates. Everything will change when you do. Okay? So, last thing. When people are arguing with you, don't argue with them about stupid stuff. It may be important, but it's stupid to argue because some people, they have different lens. Like I got this one friend. We believe politically completely different. Completely different. There's a few things in our theology that we believe differently about. And we still do ministry for one another. You know why? Because we know our differences and we don't touch them. We've agreed to disagree. But what we agree on, son, let me just tell you, boy, we'll bring the house down in the power of God because we agree on stuff. You got to be mature in that. So I just want to encourage you today. Go for everything that God has for you. Watch your eye gates, watch your ear gates. You got to have those lenses and those filters. And when people see something through a different lens, it's just completely different. Okay? So I'll give you this one more story. I remember one time I was doing an internship, and I had these 5 young men I was interning for the summer, and they all came in, and we had this one kid. All of them were great kids. This one kid came from a very wealthy family. Had another kid came from a good middle class family. Had another kid came in and had been beaten and traumatized, just beat by his dad and his uncle. Had another kid that was just poor. I'm talking poverty to the highest degree. It was really sad. And then we had another kid that actually had moved in from all the way across the country. And so you want to talk about diversity. Man, it was so diverse. And when they were all talking, they would look at one another. And I said, guys, the 5 of you don't have anything in common hardly. I mean, you guys are so diverse and eclectic. And it's great. And one would talk about, they would look at each other, and like this one kid was talking about, when he gets 16, his dad's going to buy him whatever he wants. And one other little kid said, nobody in my family even has a car. A kid said, I don't understand that. And the other kid that had been, beaten, he's like, I don't understand that. I thought all kids were beat by their families and stuff. And it was just all this stuff was, and it was eye-opening to these kids. But a lot of times you will be around people who go through different things. And so understand that as you're going on in life. So I hope this video helped. Remember, if you need prayer for anything, go to jojoedawson.net, go to the contact connect button, hit it, and I'd love to pray for you. Love you guys.